Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, a.k.a. Man of the People, with your Thursday, August 29th coverage of the Carolina Panthers. So as we have all week, we have lots of transactions to talk about today, but we're going to give you something bonus today. Are you ready for it? There's your bonus. Some practice coverage, something that I haven't been able to give to you guys much this week, but courtesy of the Carolina Panthers today, we do have some practice coverage for you. Bryce Young getting in some throws there. There you saw like a little bit of a sidearm, and there you got our RB1, Chuba Hubbard, who looking to have a great season, his second season, or his first season, I would say, as going into the season as the starting running back since he's been in the NFL. So that's going to be great for him, and hopefully he'll make the best of it. Jadeveon Clowney, are we going to have an edge rusher opposite of Jadeveon? We don't as of yet, but maybe coming soon we will, because Dan Morgan said that he is going to continue to work the waiver wire, and that position is still a competition. It's not set in stone yet, so we'll see what happens there. Deontay Johnson, our wide receiver number 1, getting in some drills there. Let's see what we got. We'll give you guys a few more seconds. Hit the like button if you have not already done so. That's what I need you to do, is hit the like button. Help us continue to grow. The bigger we grow, the more that we can do for you all, and that's great. All right, so we're going to go ahead and get into it. So, again, the Carolina Panthers today continue to make roster changes, roster moves with additions, subtractions, and as promised, we're going to continue to keep you abreast of it all week long. So let's go ahead and dive into those latest transactions by the Carolina Panthers. But first, let me give a round of applause here. There we go. Oh, I might have muted it by mistake there. So let's try that one more time. All right, here we go. James says, thank you for continuing to follow and report for the Panthers all these years. You're welcome, James. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I see that you're not a member. Hopefully you'll consider becoming a member. There's a link in the description. Everybody who can support the channel financially through membership, super chats, you're needed and appreciated. But James, thank you so much for your comments there. No move on Coker yet from Indy Heaton. No moves on Coker yet. Could be, but nothing yet. All right, so let's go ahead and get into these transactions that we have for you. We have somebody that's back. All right. We got somebody that's back. That's tight end Jordan Matthews. He's been signed back to the active roster. And this was a guy that I mentioned the other day that I was, as a guy, you just like him. And I haven't had a chance to talk to him one-on-one, but just hearing him talk to the media a few times, how personal he was and sharing his story, it's like, man, this is a good guy. And Dave Canales talked about that today. It's like, hey, what an experience for that guy. A great husband, a great father, to be able to get that reward of being able to continue to be not only on this team, but on this team as a 53-man roster member. Let's continue to work through it, though. They place rookie Jaden Crumdy on injured reserve. So because of that move of adding Jordan Matthews, they had to make a corresponding move, and that corresponding move was putting Jaden Crumdy on injured reserve. Excuse me. All right, so then we have some more practice squad additions. We have cornerback Lonnie Johnson Jr. has been signed to the practice squad. Give me just a second. I lost my marker, even though you guys can see it. I can't see it, so just give me 1 second. And we have Thomas Nkum has been signed to the practice squad, outside linebacker, as well as outside linebacker Taron Jackson and tight end Felipe Franks. These guys were all signed to the practice squad. So I'll leave that on the screen for just a minute so everybody can see that and digest that in. Again, one signing, that's corresponding sign. We had to put someone, make another move, which was putting Crumdy on injured reserve. And then we have our practice squad there, 4 guys being signed on. We still have a number of slots available. I don't know off the top of my head. I'm kind of thinking 9 plus 4 equals 15. So maybe one more. spot, but of course we could also release guys off the practice squad. So that may happen as well. So you see this little message right here, please pay attention to it. But let me also do this. We got one of our super chats.
Super chat.
All right, hey, we'll even give you some of this right here. And thank you, Jamie. Thank you, Jamie Earl, for the support. Again, we need it. It's appreciated. My plan is to travel to all of the games this year. Quite a cost, and you guys can help me do it. And I'll continue to give you guys much information as I can about this team, give you behind the scenes, just break it down. And again, I start off saying man of the people because if you guys have questions for me, I'm here for it, all right? So whether it's a basic question, an advanced question, that's something that you get from being a member of this channel and just actually being a subscriber to this channel is access to me. So we'll continue to do that, break things down for you. So Dan Morgan was first up today. Dan, as well as Brant Tillis, of the team, was available to the media today. Give you some snippets from that, okay? So a few things. Dan Morgan, who's talked about dogs, well, he's also now talking about big guys with length, guys that are over 6 feet tall being a part of his secondary, and something that they all collectively talked about. Of course, coordinator Ivero was a part of that, and in reference to, hey, these guys that you're bringing in, they're all above 6 feet tall. The guys that you let go were beneath. So yeah, it's not just one single metric of you must be 6 feet tall and boom, you're on the team. Of course, there's other metrics go into it, but that's part of what they want to have now. And he said it's a big man's league, so they got to make those adjustments. Big guys give you advantages over being able to cover more distance in a short amount of time. You know, if I'm a big guy and I got a 6.5 foot wingspan, I can reach further out and get my hand on that ball possibly than I could if I was a shorter guy who may need more speed to do that. So that's one of the things that he talked about. But Dan Morgan also talked about the guys that they claimed and that being a part of the bigger plan. You know, of course, we're trying to win today, but we're also trying to build and have these guys around for a while. So the guys that they're picking up, they are younger guys that they're picked up, and they're guys with years left on their contract. So in other words, if they develop these guys well, turn into a pretty good player, maybe even an instrumental player on Sundays, well, guess what? We don't have to worry about his contract next year or maybe even the next year because these guys have some years left on their contracts. And about one of the guys that left, since we're talking about the roster turnover, Terrace Marshall Jr., yes, he did get calls. Dan Morgan did get calls about Terrace Marshall. Hopefully that helped him, but he has landed with the San Francisco 49ers. Certainly appreciate everything that Terrace did while he was here. But in case you're wondering what was the biggest thing that wasn't a benefit for Terrace Marshall Jr., when was the last time you saw Terrace back there returning a punt? When was the last time you saw Terrace running down as a, man, I can't think of the gunners. You haven't. So he didn't have any special teams value in a crowded wide receiver room. They needed that. So he was then, released and now subsequently picked up by the San Francisco 49ers. So with all the changes that we've been having, with all those changes, well, what can you expect from this Carolina Panthers team?
Their expectations. We're dealing with the reality of things, and the reality of things is we control every single day. We can either get better or we can get worse. So for us, we choose to get better. We choose to take it day by day, and whether that's us in the front office building this roster, or the players, whether it's taking care of their body, just working on themselves from a mental standpoint. Physical standpoint, we're just looking to get better all around as an organization.
So that was Dan Morgan on the expectations right now. Why they don't talk about expectations specifically, they just want to be better. They just want to be the best representation of themselves. So I see a lot of you guys in these comments are talking about Coker being signed to the practice squad, that he cleared waivers. You guys are normally pretty good. But I haven't, since I've been live, I haven't checked the latest transactions. So if that does happen, I'll just post. Well, let me go ahead and take a look. Let me just go ahead and take a look. Appreciate that, Robert. Let me take a look at the transactions for the NFL today. I thought it was, see if I can quickly, don't want to adjust my monitor and mess things up. So let me take a look. I'm only going to take a minute to do this because we're near the end of the day here. Oh, went to the wrong website. See if we can get you all an update on this. The official word. You know, him clearing waivers is kind of step one of it, if you will. Doesn't mean that he automatically reverts back to the team on the practice squad. All right, so they have changed the website for the media for the NFL transactions, and it is not working at this time. So I cannot deny or confirm the Coker's cleared waivers. But again, if he did, it's just another step. It doesn't automatically put him back on the practice squad. All right, so that was Dan on why they don't like to say expectations. They just like to try to be the best version of themselves. What about practice today? You know, I played a clip for you all to see about practice day with Bryce, Jadavian, Deontay, Chuba, etc. Media can see the beginning of practice these days, but we're not allowed to watch the entire practice. But we were lucky enough for Dave Canales to give us a little feedback on what took place today in practice. And I'll give you a little tip. The new guys are working out.
Keenan Isaac had an interception today. Tariq Castro-Fields had an interception today. Shamar looked good. He looked like he was in position on a lot of those things. So it was cool. Plays came their way. They made them. So that was fantastic to see. And then offensively, you know, it was just really good. You know, we really pushed the first offensive line to be out there longer than normal and get that work, you know, last opportunity to really push them like that before we get into a normal flow of practice next week. So that was great.
So a pretty good practice today. The new guys already coming in, not so good for the offense, but getting those interceptions, making it. I wonder who threw those interceptions. Was it Bryce? And why does this team continue to have the defense play so well in practice against our offense? So the verdict is still going to be out. We had a great practice. I say practice, but it was preseason game against Buffalo. But contextually, yes, it was second team, but it still looked like a step in the right direction. The real test coming up very shortly when they open the season against New Orleans in New Orleans. So I'm going to be bringing you all coverage of that. Stay tuned. Coverage will continue as, you know, daily if there's news daily, but we'll certainly be giving you game day coverage as well down there in New Orleans. About Jalen Coker, though, I was able to confirm that he did clear waivers. Now, it's not official, but it's looking like the Carolina Panthers will want to bring him back, just nothing that is official just yet. And about Jalen Coker, right? He was one of the guys that was cut recently, and if you recall, Dave Canales said he wants to speak with each and every one of those guys and make it personal. He's a guy that's big on relationships, and I like that. And I continue to buy the Dave Canales persona, the culture that he's building, and I feel like I don't know what it's going to equal in terms of wins, but I just feel like it's going to be something that creates some consistency around here, and something where we can, you know, have some years where we're not picking first in the waiver wire the first 4 weeks. Dan Morgan even talked about that. But here's a clip in which Dave talked about how he has handled the cuts and why.
We had to be really truthful about the guys we wanted to have back and the guys that I was just honest. I said, okay, you did a great job this camp. Thank you. We evaluated you. We are going to look at what the rest of the league has to get eyes on new people. And I just felt like for closure for the player, giving honest feedback about here's the why. Sometimes it was just the depth issue. Here's where we saw you on the depth chart. We're planning on keeping this many. Sometimes it was not good enough. And this is what we were hoping for, and this is what we saw. From my conversations with the coaches as we got together and talked about the practices, giving them real feedback. It's the same thing as with the team, same thing with the players, is can we give them something tangible to improve upon? I always said, I put myself in their seat in that conversation. I would hope that the coach would say, you need to work on this, and that. You may not like it, feels, bad to you. But at the end of the day, it's truthful. I was so fortunate and grateful to be a part of their football life and their career. And I wanted to make sure I followed through all the way with clear feedback in that regard.
So there's Dave talking about his process and his approach to talking with these guys. And I wanted to play that because, again, I see a lot of stuff with Coach Canales, in which as a person, as a character builder, as a culture builder, I feel good about. And some people may say, well, hey, he's smiling now, but what about when the adverse? I feel like he's shown that he's going to be real when it's good. He's going to be real when it's bad. He may just talk about the good and skip out on the bad, but he's not going to pretend like something bad was good. And he's all about motivating his players and giving them a positive environment. You heard, was it Tua in Miami talked about his previous coach just made him feel like you're not good enough. You're not good enough. And it's been so different for him with, forgetting the guy, I can see his face all day long, the coach of the Dolphins, now bringing life to him because he's more positive about things. So it could have a lot of benefits. We're just going to have to wait and see. That's all we have time for today. I hope you like the show. I hope you hit the subscribe button. I hope at the least you hit the like button. Get into that habit of hitting the like button. It's the biggest thing that could help me that costs you nothing at all right? We'll continue to bring you updates. There's no practice tomorrow, so really there's nothing scheduled until next week. So if you don't hear any news, that's why. But I know there's some deep dives that I've been wanting to do, so those may come up as well. Thank you all so much for watching. Chris Jenkins reporting for Charlotte Vibe.